caution flag out for Robbie Gordon's crash. The pits will open this time by. Now, Matt Kenseth was shown as being the last car on the lead lap. Tommy Baldwin has won his appeal. They're going to wave Casey Kane past the pace car and bring him around. He is judged to also have remained on the lead lap. And the free pass car, it looks like it's going to be Ward Burton in the 0.
I think the reason they kept pit road closed that long was till they straightened this situation out with the 9 car. Don't confuse it more by more pit stops.
Well, you know, if that's the case and those guys change tires, now the leaders come to pit road. They're going to be behind. They're going to be behind the 17 and the 9 both, because they made their stops under what was starting to be a green flag stop when the caution came out.
Dick Berggren.
Rusty Wallace's car has been loose coming off the corners. They were going to adjust the chassis. They decided to let the weather adjust the chassis for them. They're going to make no changes at all, and as the temperature drops, they think that the track is going to come to them. Rusty, animated behind the wheel, urging the crew to hurry up, make this stop as fast as they possibly can. To Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. did a 4-tire change and air pressure adjustment to help the tightness. They're also going to fix the pitch on the last stop. They took fire out when they're supposed to put it in, so they put it back in this time.
And Mike, just to update, Jamie McMurray just got his service. They took a ½ pound out of the right rear tire. He's still complaining that the car's a little bit on the loose side. And they also decided not to put 2 cans of gas in, hoping that just one will affect the handling in a positive way for Jamie McMurray.
Thanks, Steve. Earlier we told you of Michael Waltrip's problem. It turns out to be a rear gear. He went to the garage, repairs were made. The crew is now running back to pit road, and he's running back out on the racetrack.
Now, if you're loose in, just putting a little fuel, enough fuel to get to the finish is a really good call, because that's going to add a little nose weight to the car. That's going to tighten him up getting into the turn, and that's a pretty smart call, huh, Larry?
Yes, it is. Don't put more fuel in it than you need.
Let's go back down to the Hollywood Hotel. Chris?
Thanks, Mike. Observing with Jeff, we just saw in the pit stop the benefit, obviously, with Rusty Wallace and McMurray, but Rusty, his crew, not doing as well as McMurray's.
Yeah, right now, all day long, Chris, we've been watching these pit crews do their job, especially Matt Kenseth. He's been in the 13-second category all day. We look at Rusty's crew, they were 17.5 compared to Jamie McMurray's 15.2. So, if you want to lead the race and want to win the race, you've got to get a faster pit crew than that.
Just 34 laps to go. The rookie Casey Kane up there with Matt Kenseth. We just talked about Rusty, also Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the hunt. What should we look for?
Well, I know what I was told by Donnie Wingo, the crew chief on Jamie McMurray's car. Even though those 2 guys are in front of them, he says, give my driver 4 brand new tires and about 30 laps to go. And he said, I like his chances any day. So I think we're going to have one whale of a dogfight here right down toward the end right there. You see Donnie Wingo. He's probably arguing the point of how in the world he wound up being behind these guys when they should have been behind him.
And Steve Burns has more. Steve?
Hey, Chris, Jeff, I've been listening to Donnie on the scanner talking to Jamie McMurray just before the pit stop. That's exactly the point he's arguing. He does not like the way the cars are being positioned. But he does understand where he is now. Yeah.
So McMurray will line up behind the 2 cars that were on pit road when the caution flag waved, but were adjudged to have been on the lead lap. Steve is in the middle of that.
All right, thanks, Mike. With Donnie Wingo. Donnie, what is NASCAR saying about how you're positioned in terms of scoring?
I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand how you can pit on the green and get your lap back and still be ahead of the guys that didn't pit under the green, pit under caution. I just don't understand how they can put them ahead of them. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand it.
And you know what, guys? I agree with Donnie Wingo. We've been documenting all day long. It's hard to make a green flag stop here, change 4 tires, maintain 45 miles per hour, and not go 1 lap down, but almost 2 laps down. And here these guys are in front of Jamie McMurray that had not even been to pit road under green.
Well, technically, the answer to Donnie's question is the caution came out. They pitted before you did. They pitted before the pits were closed for the caution, and of course before they were reopened again. It's a very odd thing to try to explain, but the fact is their stop was done before yours.
Yeah, well, it was perfect timing. The caution fell just right for the 17 and the 9, because they were in the pits when the caution came out.
Right.
The field is frozen. No more racing. That's one of the things about not racing back to the yellow. You stop or you slow down right where you are. And they came out at the back of the leaders, but then the leaders had to make their pit stops.
When you pit under green, you normally lose a lap or two here. Those cars had pitted, but at the instant the caution had come out, they had not yet been lapped.
Exactly.
And that's why they're legal.
That's why they're where they are. It's great for those two guys, and it's really confusing for everybody else. I've been on both sides of that, and it's just the way it works out.
All right, you got all that, Steve?
Yeah, and you know what? I just want to follow up on the 9 team of Casey Kane. They had a radio problem, Mike, when the caution came out. Tommy Baldwin did not hear spotter Michael Landis make the call on the caution, so they went ahead and stopped. So now they've gotten another member of their team, Sammy John's position, at another place on the track because they are having radio problems.
Well, it was the right kind to have because they got in and out all right, and they're in great shape.
How about Matt Kenseth? Last year in his championship season, cuts down a tire at Sears Point. Where does it happen? Just in front of pit road. He had a couple other incidents where he's got to have a trunk, never mind a trunk full of gasoline, he's got to have a trunk full of rabbit speed.
I mean, that is about as good a time as you could have right there. I mean, it was right there in that window.
Yeah, and of course it's not planned. I mean, I love my favorite saying is, folks, we don't make this stuff up. It's just the luck of racing, and sometimes it plays in your favor, sometimes it doesn't.
The freeze of the field at the instant of caution is what puts Matt Kenseth and Casey Kane into the lead. Can they hold off Jamie McMurray, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, and Ward Burton? Those are the lead lap cars as we get set for this restart with 30 to go.
That's what I'm thinking, 30 to go. It's going to get good now.
And Kenseth has been excellent on restarts all day long. It's a huge jump just about every time.
Casey Kane in the 9, Jamie McMurray in the 42. They're going to have to contend with Mark Martin in the 6 and Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, which are a lap down.
Look at how far out there Kenseth gets, just off of turn 2 and down the back. Pulls out there about 15 car lengths.
His teammate Mark Martin in the 6 pulls up in front of Casey Kane in the 9, and Matt Kenseth just continues to drive away.
I think for Kenseth, preparation has just met opportunity.
Seen it all my life. When it's your day, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Not a whole lot anybody else can do about it.
Mark Martin is 2 laps down, trying to get one of those back, as is Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Gear problem after that pit stop a while ago.
And Larry, that could very well be. You drop the jack, it's got concrete in the pits here, and that concrete can be very hard on the gears in the car, particularly late in a race like this when everything's so hot.
Out there 15 laps down right now.
Well, Darrell, it's a 30-lap sprint. What do you think the chances are of Jamie McMurray being able to run down Matt Kenseth as 30 laps wind up?
NASCAR's been pretty decent even in the get-go, from the get-go all the way through a run, whereas Jamie and Casey have been a little bit better on the long run, so I think that Kenseth's in pretty darn good shape.
I was going to say Jamie McMurray's first obstacle is going to be Casey Kane in that 9 car, because Casey looks like he's getting off the corner much better than Jamie McMurray in the 42 right now.
Any way you look at it, though, you got Kenseth the champion, and you got these kids chasing him. I think that's pretty cool.
A little further back, Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman battle for 6th and 7th with Kurt Busch, the 97, 6th, 7th, and 8th. For more on Rusty, here's Dick.
Every race driver wants his last stop of the day to be the best stop of the day. In Rusty Wallace's case, the last stop was by far the worst stop. Over 17 seconds. He came in 2nd. He went out in 6th position. The crew is still trying to get the television cameras to work so they can replay it. Even they haven't figured out what went wrong.
And for a guy that's trying to win a race, had won a race in a couple of years, under a lot of fire, under a lot of pressure, that's just one of those distractions he did not need.
By contrast, Matt Kenseth's pit stop was more than 3 seconds better than Wallace's final pit stop. Now, the restart had Kenseth alongside his Roush Racing teammate, Mark Martin. And we're now been told that Martin and his owner and crew chief have been called to what we formerly knew as the Big Red Truck after the race, what we now know as
the Oval Office. If you look on the side of the truck, it's got a big oval on it. We race on the oval. Seemed like the perfect name to me, the Oval Office.
I like it.
You go there and you have a little summit meeting. Doesn't matter who's what administration's in, it always works.
The last lap, Matt Kenseth and Casey Kane, they ran identical speeds, but the 2 laps prior to that, Casey Kane chopped about a half a second off of Matt Kenseth's lead.
He is slowly closing that gap.
And they're running 2 different grooves completely. Casey Kane has been right around the bottom. Matt Kenseth, along with Jamie McMurray in the 42, been right up against the wall.
Yeah, now's when you want to find the bottom, because that's the fastest way around. The track is shaded. There's no more sun. Should be nice and cool. A lot of grip. Got to go, baby.
Let's go back and have a look at that restart, Darrell. What NASCAR asks the lap cars to do is show respect for the cars on the lead lap when you restart.
Is anything wrong here? They both take off together.